Hello, this is my horse trying video of all the horses I've tried. Basically the process, and yeah, well, this was the first horse I tried. This was about, I think, 8 months ago or something. It was like in the middle of winter. This horse was, I think, 15.3. She was by the a good sire, like Wetty something. She was yeah, she was alright. The rider that was selling her on behalf rode her a lot nicer than I did. But I found her real stiff and like awkward on the flat. You can kind of tell in these videos. She was really quite behind my leg. She did kind of carry herself alright, but she had like a upside down neck, so she obviously hadn't been using herself properly. That's a really terrible transition on my behalf. Oh, a little trip. Yeah, so I don't know, you can kind of tell as a pair we don't, really work. She was the first horse I tried, so I still really wanted to jump her. Yeah, you can just watch a little bit before I start jumping. But yeah, she was just kind of a bit awkward. She seemed really fun and safe though. Yeah, just I don't know, just especially for me, what I looked mostly for is how the horse was on the flat and the attitude on the flat. And I don't want to say her attitude was bad, but she kind of just didn't have any love for it, I guess, and not much potential really there. You can kind of tell she's just kind of oh, where's the jump, or sort of thing. This is when we finally started jumping. She was actually a really nice jumper. I really liked her. She did seem to really enjoy it. She was really different to my mare, so I found it real difficult to get used to her to start off with.
2, 3.
But she had a really nice front end, and she really came up in front of you. So yeah, once again, coming back and forth in transitions, I found a little bit awkward, and we did miscommunicate on quite a few jumps, like this one here. You can kind of just tell that we weren't really a good team. She was a lot of fun. I did have a lot of fun with her. This jump was when I jumped her after a little bit, and yeah, I really liked how she jumped that. That was really nice. But yeah, Mum really liked her, but she would have been a lot of fun and safe, but it just didn't really gel like I'd hoped, or what I was looking for. So, and yeah, she had other complications that I don't want to pull out because she's sold now, so it doesn't really matter. This was the second horse I tried. He was, I think, a 4 or 5 year old off the track thoroughbred. He was about a good year and a bit off the track, I think. Yeah, I kind of last minute asked to try him because we saw another one down in the same area, and it was about an hour trip, and I wanted to make make the trip more worth it by trying 2 horses. So he was kind of just last minute, and I was a bit unsure, but I just why not while we're down there. And I do have to say, the rider that owned him, who's helping me out there in the middle, she rode him really nicely and got him going really, really well. But he was just too green for me. You can see I was really, really stiff and nervous. I don't normally get nervous, but I did get a little bit nervous on him. He wasn't bad or naughty or anything, but he was just so different, and he was big. I think he was 16.3 or 17 hands. He was really big. Yeah, and he was just, young, green. Definitely not for me. I shouldn't even wasted the owner's time by trying him, but yeah. Oh well. This one was the horse I tried after him. You can see it's quite late at night now. He was, I don't know why. I really liked this horse.
Yeah.
He was quite nice. I quite liked the fact he was really chilled out and coming off the other big horse. I was like, oh, this is nice and chill, and he kind of just went down into the bit, even though he wasn't using himself properly. You can see he's really, really, really behind my leg. I just kind of liked the fact he was just real chill. Yeah, he kind of just went with the flow. He was a little bit awkward in the canter. Yeah, quite awkward. I did find it a little bit hard to sit to, but he just had a really good brain. and just nice and chilled, which I just quite liked about him. He was the third horse I tried, so I was getting a bit excited that, you know, he was the favourite out of the first two. Again, his jumping, it took me a long time to get used to, but yeah. I did try him a second time, and I have to say the second trial was a lot better. I'm not going to bother putting the footwork in because you can kind of already tell. But yeah, I really liked him. I feel like we did work together. I loved to see the forwardness in him this day. He did get a lot more forward. His canter, you can see I literally like jump up in the saddle because it's so hard to sit to. But yeah, I just was kind of looking for something different. There's nothing really incredibly wrong with him. I did look into him a bit more and found he probably wasn't suitable for the heights I wanted to do. So yeah. And then this horse, I fell absolutely in love in.
Not very good at me.
His name was Monster. He was 16.3. He was 5. I just loved the idea of him. He was by a really lovely stallion. I can't remember the name. He was a GNZ horse, a really nice warm blood. His trot was just gorgeous. And I was really comfortable on him, even though he was quite big and a bit strong and, you know, young. But I don't know, I liked the idea of him again. I just thought having this sort of horse would just have been so cool. He was really good jumper. It took me a while to get used to him because he was big and strong. He didn't ever want to touch a rail, as you can see. He had a massive, lovely jump on him. This trial, I came home so excited. I just absolutely loved him. Yeah, this is the second trial. It was a really windy day. We brought my coach with me just to see, and I have to say this is the trial that kind of ruined it for me. He was real spooky, and I went to take my jacket off and he spooked really big, and he was just too green for me, and he had a couple of other complications I couldn't deal with. So yeah, this is Mimi. She was really nice. She was 15.3, so a little bit smaller than what I wanted, but she was just really laid back, really chilled. I kind of didn't like the idea that she was this laid back. I don't know, I was kind of hoping for a little bit more spunk, especially when jumping and stuff. But I do have to say she was a really lovely horse. But I don't know, she just didn't really gel with me. Yeah, and I wanted more, you know, bigger, like nicer movement on the flat. This horse, there's going to be no videos of her because I didn't really like her at all. She was quite nappy. She was really young. I only found when I rocked up, apparently she was only broken in for a month. You can see she just had no love for jumping at all. You know, it's kind of obvious that it wasn't going to work out. So yeah, that was a bit of a shame. This chestnut I really liked. He was really fancy, really spunky. I loved chestnuts and still am. So you'll find throughout the video all the chestnuts I tried I really liked. He was really difficult to ride. Like, he really made me work to get the best out of him. The main thing about him was he apparently was quite spooky. I didn't find him spooky at all, but this was him at home. You can tell he had like a really nice canter. He did drop his shoulder a bit and tuck himself in a little bit. Yeah, just watch his. You know, even with the dog there, was quite funny. The dog just would not move no matter how close I got to him. His jump was really nice. Yeah. Just, you know, you can see he dropped his shoulder a little bit. It was a little bit difficult to ride. But I still really liked him, but I just thought, you know, he's probably better suited to a more experienced level rider. This horse was Jimmy. This horse I found was extremely difficult to get working nicely on the flat, but we got there, and you can see he had a really nice canter. He had a really good brain on him. I absolutely loved this horse. You can see when jumping he was just having an absolute ball. He just had really good potential, and I could totally see this horse doing really top high level. He was just so keen. There was absolutely no stop on him. yeah, I really liked this horse. It was a bit cute. Yeah, he just wasn't spooky or anything, especially at home. This was when I took him out for the second trial. He was real nervous about it, and I don't know, I didn't buy him because I wanted something nice from the flat, and ideally not an older thoroughbred. Yeah, he was really nice, but yeah, it just didn't work out. This is one of my favourite horses I tried. His name was Fred. He was really nice. He'd been there, done that. He'd done quite big show jumping. He had also had a lot of dressage training as well. So he was just like a really nice, not like a schoolmaster, but he was just, yeah, I really liked him. I liked him a lot. We only jumped quite small. But yeah, you can see he was quite fun. He liked his job. The only reason why we didn't get him is because I really liked another one that you'll see later. I'll show you and tell you about her. But that kind of was the only reason why we didn't get him, is because I preferred another one over him. But yeah, he was really fun. Also at the same place we tried this other horse called Willow. She was really nice. She had quite nice breeding. I think it was dressage breeding. She was only 5, but she was, I think, 15.3, but I think she was a little bit smaller. I don't know. I look really tall on her. That was basically the only reason why I didn't get her. I felt too tall. I definitely wanted something at least 16 hands. So yeah, that was the only reason why I didn't get her. She was really sweet, really lovely, really mature for her age. If only she was like a little bit bigger, then we probably would have got her, but yeah, oh well. She was really nice and just such a lovely young horse. Yeah, I still judged her and stuff because she was fun. And I couldn't tell that I looked too tall on her after the video. I was like, nah, she would have grown, but only a little bit. Okay, this is the horse I absolutely fell in love with. Her name was Libby. I just loved her. Her canter was a little bit weird, I felt, but it was only to do with time. I think she was by Lansing or something, which is quite a nice dressage sire. So she should have been able to do nice dressage when she, with more time, because she, with her previous owner, she'd only done like hacking and stuff and had a foal. She did jump a little flat, but it just was a really nice feeling, and she just made everything feel so easy. And the owner before her previous one did like, I think, 1.20 m on her, or 1.30 m even, don't know. This is a whole another horse who I also really liked, but I just liked Libby more. I really liked this one's canter. She wasn't as nice on the flat though, and she did get quite excited and a little bit spooky, but she was a lot of fun. She had also jumped really big more recently. Oh, and the reason why we didn't buy Libby is, I'm just going to be honest, she failed her vet check. She had a problem with her hind end and had a really bad foot, so we didn't really want that issue. It would have been fine during winter, but I didn't want to test it during the hard ground in summer. The horse was Pie. He was a showy. It was really nice to be on a horse like him. It was, you know, because main focus for me was to get a horse nice on the flat, or could be nice on the flat, and he just had it all there. He was just, you had to look pretty and he had to look pretty. He was just so lovely to ride on the flat. I really liked him, and I liked the idea. I knew his owner personally. I grazed with her for a little bit, and every time she'd go and ride him, I'd literally drill, because she rode him way better than I did, obviously. And he had quite a few Horse of the Year, I think wins, or like big placings. Yeah, he was quite successful in the show ring. Yeah, I did really like him. And he was just real chilled out. And he really established. And it was quite fancy, and I liked the whole fancy vibe. He hadn't really jumped often. This is his first time jumping in a long time. Yeah, it kind of flew me out the saddle. You know, he was really green jumping, so I decided, you know, I want something that's had more potential for the price, for my budget. This horse was Ridgy. He was really nice. He was just really strong, and I'm not exaggerating. I had gloves on and had blisters afterwards. He was we went out all the way to about 2.5 hours away to go and try him because I was really keen. He'd jumped to 1.30 m, and he was big. He was 16.3 and chunky, and he was a bit out of work when we tried him, but he could look flash. And yeah, the main reason we didn't get him was he was just way too strong. Just way too strong for me, even though I was a tall rider. I didn't really want to have to deal with that because, he was at home and only doing small jumps. I wouldn't want to, having to pull him back, for example, out on cross country or in a big show ring or trying to do a jump off round. Yeah, I just didn't really feel comfortable with how strong he was. There was nothing dangerous about it. He tried really hard, and yeah. And also we saw him out competing, and I don't want to say too much, but he didn't do very well. That's all right. He was really cute. I did like him all right. And this horse my coach recommended this horse to me. I have to thank him a lot for that, for letting me try this horse and showing me this horse, because this horse was really, really nice. He was definitely the favourite, one of the favourites at least, of them all. His name was Matteo. He was by a Swedish warm blood. He was a Swedish warm blood. I think he was 16.2. He was quite big. He'd done quite big. He'd done a few, I think 1.25 m, but he was a late starter. I think he was started at 8. He was 10 here, and he had quite a few previous injuries in his past, and he didn't have very good competition results. He wouldn't stop or anything. He'd just have quite a few rails and time faults. And ideally for my budget, I wanted something that was more successful in the ring. And he was, There you go, sit tall. That wasn't the only reason we weren't super fast by it, because he was only competing, I think, for one season. He had a really, really nice jump, loads of potential, and his canter was just gorgeous, the nicest canter I've ever ridden. But yeah, this first trial, my coach rode him quite a lot before I hopped on, so he was a little bit tired. But yeah, so we tried him a second time. This isn't the second trial. When we tried him for a second time, he was really, really, really spooky, really fresh, and I wasn't used to that because my mare Danny never gets spooky or fresh, and I just didn't feel extremely comfortable, and there were a lot of concerns with him at Pony Club, and we didn't really want to risk it, so I just had a bad feeling about it. This was the second trial. I fell off this trial. And we tried him at Woodhill as well, but it just didn't really work out, even though we wanted it to, but that's okay. This was not Blue, his name was Denim, I think. He was really nice. He was really, really lazy though. He just didn't have very good results also, and he did things on the trail that I didn't really like, so I just kind of didn't really click with him, so that's alright. There was this mare as well. I loved her on the flat. She was a little bit lazy, but she was just so chilled out. She was quite young. I think she was 5. I want to say 5, but maybe older. But I just probably wanted something with more jump and more forwardness, or more experience on the jumping side. But she was really sweet. Just wasn't for me. But yeah, she was really cute. She's really pretty too. And then this one, he was Foxy. I don't know why, but I really, really liked this one compared to the others. Mum didn't get many videos of me jumping him, which was a shame. But the only thing is, if you stopped riding, he'd just drop dead stop. He was quite lazy, but yeah, he was nice. Didn't get many jumping videos, which was a shame, but the last jump I did was a little double and he jumped it really, really nicely. But again, I just preferred him over the others, but yeah, just didn't really think he was the one. And then this one, I really, really, really liked this one. His name was Milo. He was by a really good, nice sire. I think he was a mere 60 show jumper. His sire, and his canter was just so nice. He was so laid back. He was 5 as well, and he was really nice on the flat. I didn't get him as nicely, but the rider there got him going really nice. And I just really liked him. But Yeah, we weren't really able. I wanted to contact his owner, and I for some reason was quite tricky to get the contact of the owner. And before I did sort of get the contact, I'd already found my new horse, so that was a bit of a shame, but it's okay because I'm glad I was able to wait anyway. But yeah, he had a really fun jump. This is Memphis. The rider that hopped on him before I did, he was a little bit fussy with the bit and just I think he'd just been held up in the contact a lot for most of his life. So when I first hopped on, I just tried to keep things supple and easy going for him, just having a nice loose contact for him, you know, keeping him happy, and did lots of stretches and stuff. And I really liked how he just automatically picked it up. He was just, okay, you're going to be soft with me, so I'm going to be supple back. And he would just really relax into it, which I really liked about him. You can see him get a little bit fussy there. The only thing is his canter was probably the ugliest thing I'd ever ridden. When I first started, I was tempted to hop off then and there, but I'm very glad I didn't. It was just really unbalanced. It was just spoiled a little bit. I had a listen with Bill Noble on him on the flat, because Bill had ridden him a few times and scored him a few times and said that he had loads of potential on the flat, and the canter was just spoiled. Like, he has a nice canter underneath it all, but he just need to get to that balance again. And this is us jumping. I absolutely loved his jump. I really clicked with him when I started jumping him. This is kind of where I fell in love. Yeah, he's just so fun and just really keen and just had a really good brain and attitude towards it, and he didn't get frizzy or hot. Yeah, and I had videos of him jumping his bigger rounds, and he just was the same out and about. I was able to talk to James Cottle, who is the guy that trained him and schooled him up to jump in the season or two he had him. And yeah, James said really good things about him, and that kind of made me really confident in Memphis. It was almost like it was meant to be, because he was Mateo's half brother, and that's how I found him, was through the sire's website. I was just looking at like horses for sale from that sire, and I saw Memphis there. And yeah, I decided to try him to compare to Mateo, and I ended up falling in love with Memphis. So yes, we ended up buying him. I was just really confident in buying him. I was really trusted his owners, because they had him since he was born. They bred him themselves, and yeah, I love him. He's come to us with no surprises, and